What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Raptor Report. It's time to talk about the Toronto Raptors and the 76ers. These are two teams I did not think would be potential trade partners, but we got some really strange rumors, and I'm going to be discussing that in today's video and looking at it from both sides and why it might make a lot of sense. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you wish to hit the subscribe button as well, that'd be very much appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel, and the shout out for today's video goes out to RS Bandy. So RS Bandy, thank you so much for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now let's talk about the trade rumor that was being reported by Basketball on X News reporting. Sixers remain interested in Raptors Bruce Brown and are believed to be floating Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre in trade talks. This was being reported by Miko Hoops, and the article went on to state that the 76ers are said to be contemplating their immediate future, and not surprisingly, it will be based on the severity of the latest left knee injury to center Joel Embiid. Once they learn that, they will approach the trade deadline accordingly. Sources say they remain interested in Raptors Bruce Brown and are believed to be floating the names of Tobias Harris and guard forward Kelly Oubre in trade talks, with Toronto and multiple others. The 76ers may also look to pursue former Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry, assuming he agrees to a buyout with the Hornets per reports. Now, you're probably looking at this rumor and asking yourselves, why and how are the Raptors going to be acquiring both Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre? Taking a look at the 76ers salary cap situation here, Bruce Brown is only making $22 million, yet you got Tobias Harris just by himself making $39.2 million. Now, a reminder that Bruce Brown can only be traded by himself, or because he did get traded recently, he cannot be packaged with another player. So this makes a trade very interesting. The article also was suggesting that maybe perhaps they can make two different trades with the Toronto Raptors. Now, to fully understand that, you also have to look at the Raptors salary point of view. Now, taking a look here again, Kelly Oubre is only making $2 million, so that shouldn't be too difficult. But if you're the 76ers and if this is the deal you're getting, maybe you do a Bruce Brown and then you do some other deals as well. Like maybe they can target someone like a Dennis Schroeder. And then you got Chris Boucher there as well to perhaps, again, depending on how much they want to spend and what they're looking for, maybe you do two different deals there where you get some of the salary back and ultimately everything evens out there. So you have to understand why the 76ers are doing this. You're probably asking yourself, even if Joel Embiid does play, why would it make sense for them to get rid of Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre, two guys that have been a big part of their offense this season? Well, it all makes sense when you take salary into consideration. So Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre are both guys that are expiring contracts, and we know the 76ers have a ton of money. That doesn't necessarily mean that Tobias Harris will be brought back by the 76ers, and maybe not even Kelly Oubre. Now, this makes things very tricky for the 76ers because they're pretty much banking on the fact that they could potentially go out and sign a free agent. But if they don't, then all of a sudden this becomes a very challenging position. That is where someone like a Bruce Brown comes in. He has a team option of $23 million for next season. Now, let's assume for a moment that, you got Joel Embiid there for next season. Tyrese Maxey is also a restricted free agent, which means you don't necessarily have to complete the deal as soon as free agency starts. What this allows the 76ers to do is you maintain that cap space, and you look at free agency, your free agent class, you have a handful of names that you could potentially sign. LeBron James is unlikely to come there, but one name I do want to focus on is Paul George. If Paul George does decide to leave the Clippers, as a big if, the 76ers would be potentially a great fit for him because they do need a shooting guard. Now you got Paul George, you got Joel Embiid there, you can re-sign Tyrese Maxey. But now, again, if the roster just remained as it was without the Bruce Brown trade, if the 76ers do want to make future trades, it becomes really difficult because they don't have a big contract to trade. That's where Bruce Brown comes in. You got that $23 million. You got a handful of first-round picks you can potentially trade in future trades as well. And you don't have to wait until that 4 or 5 month period of, let's say, if the 76ers were to bring back someone like a Kelly or Patrick Beverley or even Mo Bamba. If you were to sign those guys to a deal, then you have to wait several months to make a deal. What this allows the 76ers to do is you get Bruce Brown, you accept his team option for $23 million, and then you can look to trade him with first-round picks at any moment. You don't have to wait to that sign period where teams or free agents are finally allowed to be traded. You could make the trade. This is why a team like the 76ers could potentially be looking to acquire someone like a Bruce Brown. Whether Joel Embiid comes back for the season, whether he's injured, it still makes a lot of sense for them because they're not bringing Tobias Harris back. They're not going to sign a 31-year-old to $30 million contract. And Kelly Oubre is definitely going to be asking for a raise as well. Now, let's take a look at this from a Raptors point of view. Why would they want Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre? Well, let's talk about their salary cap situation as well. Now, when you look at the Raptors salary cap situation, it is very unique, but unfortunate for them. They do have a lot of cap space, much like the 76ers who spend during the offseason. But for them, unfortunately, they don't have someone that they can really target in free agency. So again, taking a look at the Raptors salary cap situation here, you got a bunch of guys locked in, but then you got Emmanuel quickly you have to pay this offseason. That is going to be a big pay raise of probably around $23-24 million. And that's essentially going to be what Bruce Brown would be paid. Now you got guys like Scotty Barnes that are going to be heading into next year, and this extension is coming soon. So if the Raptors do have money to spend, it is this offseason, but you also don't want to waste that extra $20-30 million of cap space and just stay there. This is where guys like Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre come in. Now, I'm not saying it makes a lot of sense because you're probably looking at me and trying to make sense of why a team like the Raptors, who traded Pascal Siakam away, a better player than Tobias Harris, who was a few years younger, yet you didn't want to pay him, you pay Tobias Harris. Well, let me make sense. Let me make this easier for you. So when you talk about Pascal Siakam, his asking price likely was in the $40-43 million range. Realistically, I think the Raptors could potentially convince someone like a Tobias Harris to maybe take somewhere around a $30 million, $31 million, but a longer contract, a 4-year deal. Now, this is where, similar to what the 76ers was doing, this is where it comes into when you have a big salary and you can trade it into the near future. Much like the 76ers, the Raptors have a handful of first-round picks that they can trade in the near future. You sign Tobias Harris for now. It gives you some depth at the forward position. They've been really lacking that depth at the forward position ever since Pascal and Precious Achiuwa are gone. And it also gives you more rebounding as well as scoring as well, right? So again, to fully understand this, you need to take into consideration if the Raptors fast forward 2 years from now, if a duo of RJ Barrett, if a duo of Emmanuel Quickly and Scotty Barnes are in that 4 to 6 range in the Eastern Conference, and now they want to trade for an all-star, a superstar, whatever, you have Tobias Harris, his salary of $30+ million, which you can flip. Again, I do want to take this into consideration before people dismiss this idea. It's a luxury to be able to spend money, especially when you have it. If the Raptors don't spend money this offseason, again, taking a look at the salary cap situation one more time, ultimately it all is about money, salaries, and assets when you talk about NBA teams and how they function in the modern NBA. Because look, the fast forward next season, Scotty Barnes, he's probably going to be making $30+ million. Emmanuel Quickly is going to be making, anywhere from $23-27 million fast forward, a few seasons. Then you got those first round picks that are coming in during the draft as well. So all of a sudden, all of these little salaries start to add up. And now the Raptors don't have money to spend. So this is where Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre come in. And they always have the potential, guys. They always have the potential to do sign and trades as well. That is a huge, huge thing for the Raptors to be able to do. Not a ton of teams outside of, teams like the Detroit Pistons and a lot of the bottom of the, I don't want to say bottom of the barrel because the Raptors are close to that as well. But the bottom of the barrel for NBA teams isn't a team that Tobias Harris is necessarily looking to go to at this stage of his career, right? Kind of ironic. I know the Raptors would be acquiring him, but you have to understand money, trades, and assets. And that's where it makes sense. Even if, you do sign and trades with him, you get Kelly Oubre, you re-sign him, you can flip him later as well. So it's always about asset management in the modern NBA. You have to truly understand that. Again, it wouldn't be the smartest idea if you ask me. Hopefully Masai Ujiri is a lot smarter than me, but this is just one of those ideas that I'm logically trying to think of why both of these teams would want to make that trade, right? Why would a rebuilding team like the Toronto Raptors want to acquire someone like a Tobias Harris? Are they all of a sudden just change their mind and now they want to win? No, it's all about retaining assets and then being able to flip them in the future. Again, I want to quickly take a look at Tobias Harris statistics as well for those that may say, well, it doesn't make a ton of sense for the Raptors to sign him. So one of the things with Tobias Harris, although he's 31 years old, one thing he has been very consistent is been scoring consistently 17 to 19 points for, dating back to almost, guys, it's 7 years ago. The last time he averaged less than 17 points was in 2016, 2017. That was quite a while ago. He's also been putting up a decent amount of rebounds. He gives you 6-7 rebounds a game. His three-point percentage has been excellent for 5 straight seasons now. So it kind of gives you an idea that his skill set although he's getting older, yes, he may lose, he may score a point less or so, but it's never going to magically vanish. He has been one of the more consistent players in the NBA. And when you think of teams like the Lakers, when you think of teams like the Knicks, there are always going to be teams out there that would absolutely love to have someone like a Tobias Harris who can easily slide in and be the third, fourth option on a championship team. He's a really good complementary player. He scores well, he rebounds well, he shoots threes well. What else do you want from a forward? Those are perfect assets when you think about it. And again, I'm trying to logically make sense. Maybe I'm wrong in this, and you guys can let me know in the comment section. But that's why I think the Raptors could pretty much do what they've been doing with Pascal. You traded Pascal for 3 firsts, but then you acquired Bruce Brown, not because you thought Bruce Brown was this, all-star player, but you acquired Bruce Brown because you can later flip him. And now you flip Bruce Brown, you acquire Tobias Harris, and hopefully you can, flip him in the future. So again, I'm trying to make some sort of sense. It doesn't make a ton of sense for me personally, if you ask me. This is my thought process as to why both teams would want to acquire these players. Perhaps I'm wrong. I've been wrong many times as well. And I want to, before quickly end this video, I do want to take a look at free agency class as well, because a reminder that the 76ers and the Toronto Raptors both have a lot of cap, or both have a lot of money, to spend this free agency. So again, I link Paul George to the 76ers from the Raptors point of view. Like, you look at the top 5 guys in, this year's free agency. You're not signing LeBron, Paul, Clay, Tobias if he does get traded. Maybe you're not signing James Harden. Definitely not Pascal Siakam, who you just traded. So after that, you see that it really drops. The draft class, or excuse me, the free agency really drops after that. Gordon Hayward, DeMar DeRozan aren't necessarily guys you're looking to sign to longer term contracts. And then you see how quickly this free agency class weakens. So that's what I'm talking about when we talk about money to spend. If you're able to sign someone like a Tobias Harris, flip him later for assets, you gotta do it, man. You gotta do it. That's how the NBA functions these days. It's not so much that you sign Tobias Harris because you're trying to be a playoff contender at the time being or for the future. But you know what? He's always going to be a player that you can trade in the near future, and you can always trade an all-star for him as well, considering how many future first-round picks you have, right? So it'll be interesting to see what the Raptors do with Bruce Brown, but I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on these very strange rumors we're hearing about Bruce Brown and the 76ers. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I do have a trivia question for you today. And the trivia question for today is, which team was Kelly Oubre drafted by? Was it A, the Hornets? Was it B, the Wizards? Was it C, the Suns? Or was it D, the Hawks? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if maybe perhaps this conspiracy theory of mine is so wild out there that's ludicrous, or maybe you have another conspiracy theory as to why the Raptors would want to acquire someone like a Tobias Harris. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.